Hi everybody, welcome to another week of meals on the SeeSaw, and as always we're starting the week with something simple. So this is Crockpot Bow Tie Pasta. So at lunchtime today, Mondays is my work from home day, so at lunchtime today I cooked off, well, didn't cook it, I browned some mince with some onion and garlic just in the pan. I always just sear mince before I put it in the crock pot. It just helps to break it up into little mincy pieces rather than a big clump of meat going in. So I did that, put it in the crock pot with a carton of passata, so that would be a can of tomato sauce in the States, a can of chopped or diced tomatoes, about a teaspoon or so of Italian seasoning, about a teaspoon or so of oregano, and a little bit of salt and pepper, as I've got no stock or anything. Left that to cook all afternoon. And then I cooked up a whole package, so a 500-gram package of bow tie pasta. I stirred that through with a couple of good handfuls of green baby spinach and about a half a cup of Parmesan cheese and about a cup of mozzarella. So a good handful of Parmesan and 2 handfuls of mozzarella. Stirred that all through and then just put a little bit more mozzarella on the top and popped the lid back on for about another half an hour. So it is really cheesy and yummy, and it's got the meat sauce and the pasta, little bits of spinach through it. So really hearty, tasty, but slow cooked meal, so little preparation needed for this one on a Monday night. Hi everybody, so it's Tuesday evening, simple supper tonight, pork chops with mashed potatoes and steamed vegetables. So these are just bone-on pork chops. I brushed them with a little bit of olive oil and then sprinkled over a mixture, my normal kind of seasoning mixture, which is salt, pepper, paprika and onion powder. Sprinkled some of that over and then just popped them in a 180 oven or 200 degree oven for about 15 minutes on a baking tray. I prefer to cook bone-in pork chops that way. I think it keeps them from drying out and cooks them evenly through. And then we've just got some nice creamy mashed potatoes, and we've got broccoli, peas and carrots. So that's mine. That is Caleb's. We've taken his meat off the bone and then he's got the bone to gnaw on as well. So pork chop supper for a Tuesday night. Hi everybody, so it is Wednesday evening. Now if you remember a couple of weeks ago I did a recipe video for a Mexican style lasagna using lasagna noodles. I made my own enchilada sauce and all the filling, and it was really tasty, absolutely delicious. But if you want a similar meal, but you want it on the table half an hour start to finish, then this may be a suitable alternative for you. It's something I call a burrito casserole. And I referenced, when I did the lasagna video, I did reference often Mexican lasagnas are shown with tortillas as the layering layer, like pasta style layer rather than pasta. Now the one I made used actual lasagna noodles, but this one is a really quick and simple weekday meal. It only uses 5 ingredients, so can't beat that. So in the bottom of my casserole, it's a 9 by 13 inch casserole dish. I put a little bit of spray oil, and then I put a layer of corn tortillas. So you could use flour tortillas, but I just find the corn tortillas work best for these kind of baked dishes compared to the flour tortillas. So I used a package of 8 average size tortillas, and I used 4 of them to just kind of cover the bottom of the pan. You can cut it and fit it exactly, but I just layered them kind of crossing over a little bit so that there was sort of 1 tortilla into each corner, and then they all met in the middle. Then I browned a package of mince. I've used turkey mince as always, but you could use beef, pork, turkey, Quorn mince, because this would be a really good vegetarian meal if you were, or even vegan if you were going to use a vegan cheese on the top. So brown the mince. Once the mince is browned, you want to stir through a can of kidney beans in chili sauce or chili beans. So that's where you get all your flavour from in your meat. So you don't want to just use plain kidney beans. You want to have the ones with the sauce on. So stir that through. You layer that on top of your tortillas. Put a nice handful of cheese over the top of that, and then the other layer of tortillas. So I used the other half of the package, 4 more tortillas, and then I used about 1.5 cups of salsa. Now you could use a mild salsa. We've used a hot salsa because we like spicy food. I would say if you don't like salsa, you could use some chopped tomatoes or diced tomatoes from a can, but that sort of defeats the whole object. I would say if you don't like a little bit of spice in your food, this is probably not the dish for you. So I used about 1.5 cups. I used my 1/2 cup measure, and I kind of used 3 scoops of that from the salsa, layered over the top, and then another sprinkling of cheese. I covered it in some foil, popped in a 180 oven. I actually put it on 160 fan, so it just wasn't too hot to burn up anything or crisp up anything too much. Put it in for 15 minutes, took the foil off and let it go for 10 more minutes to melt the cheese properly on the top. So you can see the little layers in there. There's a portion on the plate. But 5 ingredients, ready in about 30 minutes. If you cooked the mince off like the night before when you were making dinner, and mixed it with the chili beans and popped that in the fridge, it would be even quicker. It would be like a 20-25 minute meal. So it doesn't take very long at all to put it together. Super tasty, all of the Mexican flavours there, but using a lot of shortcut ingredients. So off to enjoy this burrito casserole. Hi everybody, so it's Thursday evening and tonight we've got this tasty pasta dish which I call chicken cordon bleu pasta because it's got all those ingredients in it. So I started out with a pack of diced chicken which I just browned in the pan for about 3 or 4 minutes, then took it out of the pan, not cooked through, just browned. And then to the pan I added a chopped onion. In the pan I had a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of butter, and then I added a chopped onion and kind of 4 decent size slices of thick ham, so thick sliced ham. If you were going to use thinner ham, you'd probably want a bit more. Added that to the pan, cooked that for kind of 2 or 3 minutes. Then I added some garlic powder, onion granules, some dried parsley, a little bit of pepper. Didn't add any salt to the meal because I'm using chicken stock in the recipe, and a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. Stirred that all through. Added 3.5 cups of chicken stock, 300 grams of spiral pasta, brought it up to a boil, popped the lid on, let it cook for 15 minutes. Then I stirred through 3 or 4 tablespoons of double cream and a block of gruyere cheese, which is the closest thing we have here to what in the US they just regularly call Swiss cheese. You can buy Swiss cheese the same as you can buy cheddar and stuff there. You can get it grated, sliced, blocks. We don't really have the same thing here. The Lurderama sliced cheese is similar, but it is hard to find what in the US is just called Swiss cheese, but Gruyere cheese is the closest. Emmental is okay as well, but I got a block of Gruyere, I think it was 200 grams. I grated it up and then I stirred that through as well to give it that really kind of, you want a punchy cheese flavour in this, which the Swiss gives you. It's quite mild, but it's got a punch to it. Whereas a cheddar, I think, wouldn't quite be right for this recipe, although you could use cheddar, you could use mozzarella, whatever you've got. But, yep, then just stir that through until the cheese is all melted. And you've got a delicious 1 pan, 1 pot. There's the pot. You can see as we take it out of the pot, the delicious gooey. That's the good thing about Swiss cheese, is it sort of melts in that gooey, almost fondue style way. So you get those nice strings of cheese through it. So off to enjoy this on a Thursday night. Hi everybody, so it's Saturday and a bit of a change to plans today. So on our menu plan for today, we were going to have gammon, egg and chips and beans. I am partially deaf in one ear, and my deaf ear has been a problem since I got out of bed this morning. I don't know, something's going on with it. Just feels even more dead and blocked than it normally feels, if you know what I mean, because I've lived with it for many years, only have partial hearing on that side, but today it is particularly uncomfortable, and therefore I didn't want to go grocery shopping in case I got dizzy or anything like that, especially with having to wear a mask and everything as well. And I hadn't obviously ordered anything in advance, so we've pulled together a meal from what we had on hand and what we could get from the village shop. But it is very similar to what we were going to have. So the boys have got bacon, which we had in the freezer, with some eggs, which I picked up in the village. We had some crinkle cut oven chips in the freezer, so I've just popped those in the active fryer. And then we had some beans and spaghetti hoops in the pantry. So Caleb's got bacon, chips, eggs and spaghetti hoops. And then I had there was some ham left in the fridge as well from lunches from this week. So I've got ham with mine. I've got 1 egg, some chips, some beans, and then I picked up a little pack of mushrooms at the village shop. Got those, and then I've got a sliced tomato left from this week's tomatoes, which were actually really tasty. They were these succulent and juicy Jubilee large vine tomatoes. They were a substitute on the little Sainsbury's delivery I had this week from the regular old ones I ordered, but they are really sweet and really tasty. So yeah, a little bit of a put together meal. I'm hoping I'm going to feel better tomorrow, but our Tesco's opens up delivery slots for the next day each evening. And so I'm going to go on there in a moment, see if I can bag myself a delivery slot for tomorrow, or click and collect, and then probably do the rest of the grocery shop that way. So off to enjoy, until then, a bit of a kind of combination meal of bacon, egg, chips and beans, and ham, egg, chips and beans. Hi everybody, so it's Sunday evening, and tonight we've got a Crockpot special, which is best way to describe it would be a deconstructed chicken parmesan. So chicken parmesan is usually flattened chicken breasts which are coated in a crumb with parmesan mixed through it and then cooked, and then they have red pasta sauce poured over them, a layer of mozzarella on the top, and served on top of a bed of pasta. So I've got all the same ingredients, but they've been cooked in a crock pot. So I put some chopped onion and garlic in the bottom of the crock pot, then I used 3 large chicken breasts which I put on top of that, and then 2 of the really big jars of pasta sauce, of the bolognese sauce. I used the smooth one, and they're 750 gram jars, so 24 ounce jars, and I used 2 of those because you're going to combine everything together. So it seems like a lot of sauce when you're cooking the chicken, but at the end it's just the right amount. Poured over or sprinkled over some dried basil, about a teaspoon, perhaps 2 teaspoons of that. And then put the lid on, let it all cook for 5 to 6 hours on low setting. I then took the chicken out, shredded the chicken, put it back in the sauce with a 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, grated Parmesan or shredded Parmesan. Put the lid back on, and then while that was kind of just warming together, I cooked some pasta. I cooked about 500 grams, a mixture of penne and rigatoni. Added that to the pot once it was cooked. Put a good couple of handfuls of mozzarella cheese over the top of that. Put the lid back on and just let it kind of warm through to melt the cheese while I cooked up some garlic bread. So that is Caleb's plate. And you can see in there the shredded chicken. You've got the red sauce with the basil mixed through, the pasta, and then the mozzarella cheese. And this is how it looks in the crock pot. You can see it's very cheesy. And you need all of that sauce to combine with the amount of pasta that I used. If you were using less pasta, less chicken, then you could get away with one jar of sauce. You could always make your own pasta sauce for this, but this is one of those, throw it all in the crock pot. Ideal for a weeknight or a busy day, and it doesn't heat up the whole kitchen because you just got your crock pot running. So looking forward to this for our Sunday night, something for a change supper. Thank you for joining us for this week of meals, and we look forward to seeing you back here on the SeeSaw soon.